In this episode, we shall be looking at the reason why France is failing in Africa, why any new beginning and attempt to reignite the relationship with the continent of Africa has fallen flat. We shall discuss this episode like you have never before seen. We will dive into some specifics, look at some analytical information, look into historical information as well, and to bring to you to the reason why France continues to struggle to find its feet with regards to the continent of Africa. I will encourage you to watch this video to the end for clarity and better understanding. So without any more delay, let's just dive straight into it. You might think there is a new beginning for the country of France. However, the current issues with regards to France and West African countries, it's all about old problems and it's nothing new. France has turned its eye away from the current challenges that affect the continent. With the introduction of the Chinese, the United States, and also Russia, France is beginning to wake up, but it appears that things are late for France. At this moment, if you consider the geopolitical situation in the region, France is losing incredibly in the continent of Africa. Let's dive into some specifics here. France's relation in Africa has been strained. The setback in Niger jeopardizes the country's entire positioning in West Africa, both militarily and also politically. Unfortunately, for the French President Emmanuel Macron, this is not the only place where his administration is facing failure. We might even dare to ask, is France about to lose North Africa as well? Indeed, relations between France and Morocco, Algeria, and also Tunisia and Libya have been extremely tense. If you look at different criteria considering geopolitics events in the region, one significant focus for Macron has been resettling relations with Algeria. Regrettably, Macron has not been able to achieve this so far. This has already come at the cost of excellent relations with Morocco. In his effort to improve ties with Algeria and looking at Algiers, the French leader has shifted his historical stance on the Western Sahara, straining his relationship with Morocco. For many, he ended up losing Morocco without gaining Algeria. Moving forward, this might pinpoint the exact problem with French foreign policy. While seeking a complete reset and departure from the old colonialist perception of France, the policy has not been adequately formulated in terms of military, security, and also economic strategy. As a result, to most African countries within France's sphere of influence, it appears to be a weak and also unappealing offering. The main issue is that despite uttering words of regret for colonialism, France continues to lecture rather than engage in meaningful relationship with the continent of Africa. Furthermore, the balance of power has shifted, largely due to Europe's unsettled energy issues and also raw material needs, as we all currently see at the moment. Moving forward, however, the Algerian leader has yet to make the visit, which is intended to solidify improved relations between the two countries following numerous diplomatic crises. Instead, he traveled to Russia in June, where he received a grand reception from Russian President Vladimir Putin. Algeria and Morocco have maintained privileged relations for a long time. Tebboune said recently, "Our visit to Russia yielded concrete result based on his own assessment," and added that state visits to China, Italy, and Portugal have also been very successful. If you look at France's relation with the region, as tense issues begin to emerge, this illustrates that the approach of giving lessons could also worked in the past when France faced little competition in Africa and North Africa in general. However, in the present day, it must contend with China and Russia, making sense of all these implications and those interactions from those countries, as they bring in soft power from a different perspective. Make no mistake, significant strides have been made by both countries in recent years. While grappling with the Ukrainian conflict, Russia has been able to strengthen its relations and also establish military agreements with many African countries. Meanwhile, China has presented pragmatic and also constructive solutions for infrastructural development and trade relationship and partnership. In essence, they are offering a better deal. Based on analysis report, no one denies the horrendous impact of French colonialism in the continent of Africa, especially in Algeria, which earned the moniker country of the million martyr due to the loss of lives and immense sacrifice made by the Algerians during their struggle for independence from France rule. This learn acknowledges the country's individuals who died or suffered as a consequence of the violence, repression, and also conflicts that are characterized by France's imperialist approach in the continent of Africa and Algeria's fight for freedom. If you look at different areas considering Morocco, looking at also in West Africa and the French-speaking countries and Niger, and also at the moment, if you look at the difficulties that France is facing, as the French president continues to face pressures from home. In this context, Algerian political forces are determined to assert their new position sounds of Mediterranean aspect and a true reset and rebalancing relation with France and the West at large. However, there is a specific reason this anti-colonial sentiment is spreading. France and the West are weakening on the international stage, and this serves as a rallying point. This weakening is also prompting a different discourse domestically and also internationally, as the African diaspora is putting pressure as well. As the recent protest shows, the progressive left agendas are intensively pressured by the advocating a breakaway from the institutional aspect of the Cold War, as we all have seen. If you look at different areas, despite uttering words of regret for colonialism, France continues to lecture rather than engage in meaningful relationship, as you all seen. Indeed, France, like the West, is grappling with uncertainty. This might be the most pressuring issue as the debate revolves around the country's own identity. This agenda is championed by the progressive left, which leverage France's colonial past to draw parallel with what is perceived as continuing oppression. All of this comes at a time when Europe and also West have less influence over the world's fate and even trenched by a new global order. Moving ahead, tense relationship between France and Italy on Libya and reveal this state of doubt. The key issues is not positive bilateral relations with their African counterpart, but a fight to access energy. This highlights Europe's weakness at a time of alternatives for trade and security partnership. Indeed, China is offering a much better long-term partnership than Europe if you look at other aspects. The big question here is, can Emmanuel Macron reverse the tide? Can he reset relations with Algeria? Can he reset relations with West African countries? This depends on what he can deliver, underscoring the needs for a comprehensive reset of an overreaching strategy foreign policy that actually has impacted the current perception of France in the region and also the European Union approach with regards to development and infrastructural issues.